Well, it's certainly popping off today, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News. You know me, guys. I said I always upload at least one video a day, sometimes two, depending on news developments and things popping off, because I always want to be able to offer you my commentary and opinion on said subject matter that's popping off as quick as possible. And today we're talking about Marina Granovskaia also leaving Chelsea Football Club, and a little bit of extra transfer news for you. I did speculate in the upload this morning that she could be next, and things are moving at 1,000 miles an hour. A lot of people thought Chelsea was stagnant. Boehly wasn't doing things in the background, but there's been a lot of stuff going on in the background. And if you want to keep up with my opinion and my commentary on it, and you know, the Football Therapy community down in the comment section, please do. Well, dropping a like would be very kind, thank you, but consider subscribing. And like I said, man, at least one video a day, sometimes two or more, depending on what happens. So make sure when you subscribe, you hit the bell notifications icon. We're going to be citing Matt Law of the Daily Telegraph today, a part of his article, an exclusive that he's got about Marina Granovskaia following Bruce Buck out the door. And then we'll talk a little bit about Leeds' Rafinha, who Chelsea have been looking at, confirmed Fabrizio Romano. So let's jump into this article now from the Telegraph. Exclusive. Marina Granovskaia to leave Chelsea following Bruce Buck exit. Granovskaia was a major figure under the previous owner, Roman Abramovich, and led to the club's transfer negotiations. Look, man, I said at the end of my last video I wouldn't cry for Buck's exit. He, really pushed for the European Super League. He was the one who sort of gave special treatment to the Ricketts to try and get them to buy Chelsea. I obviously accept that he's been very important in Chelsea's success, but he's the one that, I wouldn't really particularly cry for. And I'll be disappointed to see Marina Granovskaia leave, but as I've mentioned in previous uploads, it's not surprising at all. And I kind of understand the logic behind it. A clean slate, cut ties. They both have close affiliations to the previous ownership in Roman Abramovich, but Marina Granovskaia has always been very, very close to Roman. She was his PA ages ago. And although she's been excellent, she's got great contacts, her negotiating skills have been second to none for Chelsea. You can totally understand the new ownership just wanting a clean slate, new structure, and this is seemingly the case in what's going on. Let's have a little read then, ladies and gentlemen. Marina Granovskaia is set to become the next big name exit at Chelsea Football Club, as Bruce Buck was confirmed by the club. He will step down as chairman. Buck will give up his role, which co-owner Todd Boehly is in line to fill at the end of this month, and the Telegraph Sport understands Granovskaia is in line to follow. Totally makes sense about Todd Boehly taking over Bruce Buck as chairman, and that's positive. I like that because it shows Todd Boehly is going to be an integral figure in running Chelsea Football Club moving forward. He wasn't just around Stamford Bridge when the takeover was happening, or wasn't it happening, smiling with fans, taking photos, out here shaking hands and kissing babies like, we bought Chelsea, and then gone back to America, back to the Dodgers. No, he's going to be the chairman. So for me, that's positive news. We like positive news here on Football Therapy, man. So I like that. Granovskaia to follow. Should her departure be confirmed before the transfer window closes, as some sources believe is now likely the case, could even be today. By the time you watch this, it could be another relatively short statement by Chelsea saying she's out as well. Boehly will not only just take on the chairmanship, but also take over transfer negotiations, which is Granovskaia has been in charge of during the reign of the previous owner, Roman Abramovich, or at least the latter stages. Wow, that's huge. So yeah, chairman and chief negotiator. Does he know enough about footballers? I mean, did Marina know enough about footballers? I guess it's just business assets. She was good with it. So that's wild, man. Don't you think that's wild? I think that's wild. Boehly has been negotiating the Romelu Lukaku return to Inter Milan. Oh, there you go. He's got a head start. He's getting used to it. He's getting warmed up. Having already given head coach Thomas Tuchel greater power in terms of Chelsea's transfer business and contracts. I think obviously that's in decision making. He's not getting Tuchel to waste his time to do negotiations. Chelsea's new Boehly Clear Lake owners will almost certainly have to appoint a new sporting director, having already been linked with Atletico Madrid's Andrea Berta, but until then, Boehly and Tuchel will take on the bulk of the responsibility left behind by Granovskaia. Yeah, this chap from, Atletico Madrid, a lot of people have been like pulling up some poor transfers from Atletico. But, I defer to everyone's superior football knowledge from me. I'm a content creator, a Chelsea fan first and foremost, but these people know a lot more than I, and if they think this is the appropriate person to be the sporting director for Chelsea moving forwards, then we have to just say, all right, have a crack, mate. See what you can do, and hopefully Chelsea prevail. Granovskaia's exit will further underline the enormous operational change at Chelsea since the Boehly Clearlake takeover was formally completed less than a month ago, with the chief executive Guy Lawrence and now Buck and Granovskaia following Abramovich out of the door. Buck and Granovskaia earned bonuses for their roles they played in the sale of Chelsea. As revealed by the Telegraph Sport, it emerged that the Boehly Clearlake consortium held back over 100 million from the agreed price over potential liabilities they could be hit with. The departure of Granovskaia will place a question mark over the future of Petr Cech, so this is interesting. Chelsea's technical and performance advisor, who had also been working closely with Tuchel over football matters and transfers. Yeah, what's going to happen to Petr Cech? Because he did identify, I know his legacy so far is going out in the Super League and talking to the people, that iconic photo of him and the fans outside Stamford Bridge. And then obviously Edouard Mendy is, he told Frank, get Mendy. We paid hardly anything for him. It's been an excellent signing. Is Petr Cech a great figure to have? So, Cech was appointed in his current position by Granovskaia and was asked to continue by the new owners, but the former goalkeeper must now decide whether he will not want to continue. So, but that sounds like it's up to him to decide, by all accounts. Granovskaia has effectively run Chelsea for Abramovich over recent years, having, according to the club's website, acted as a representative of the owner at the club and in support of the board of directors since 2010. Pretty much says it itself. She's like the voice and the arm of Roman Abramovich, so it does not surprise you that the new owners want a clean break from that. A Russian Canadian who graduated from Moscow State University and started work for Abramovich in 1997 at Sibneft, the oil company he then owned. Granovskaia moved to England shortly after Abramovich bought Chelsea in 2003. There's a history of Marina Granovskaia and Roman here. She was his runner for a while. Goes on to talk about Buck. I'm not going to read the whole article. It's behind a paywall. I will, of course, link the source down in the description for you guys to read. But this is, change is important. If you buy something and you have a project for it and you have ideals and a philosophy and a project, you want to bring people in and build fresh. Obviously, the one thing that they were certain they wanted to keep was the manager and Thomas Tuchel, probably largely because he won the Champions League in the first 6 months of coaching Chelsea. He's been generally competitive, and I think because of how he's represented himself as a figurehead of Chelsea Football Club, which will be very important for new ownership, how he navigated a very turbulent and difficult situation within the sanctions, the sale, the pandemic and stuff as well. Tuchel was exemplary and showed a human side as well as a sort of diplomatic, political side as well. So that was top of the list, and now us as fans, we want to obviously see assets, players, we want to see new contracts, we want to see Mason Mount, Reece James extensions, possibly Edouard Mendy new contract. You want to see academy players still coming through the door, but you also want to see, new signings from the continent to add spice and excitement, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of stuff to consider. And on that, another signing that I wanted to talk about that I hadn't talked about in this morning's video is Rafinha, because transfer guru Fabrizio Romano says, yes, Chelsea have been in contact with Leeds for Rafinha. Of course, Rafinha is wanted by a lot of teams, Barcelona being one. Many of the potential buying teams all was probably hoping Leeds got relegated, because had Leeds got relegated, the price of Rafinha would have been it would have been much smaller in comparison to what it is now, especially since, now they've retained Premier League money, they don't have to sell, and they can charge a lot of money. Rafinha ticks a lot of boxes for a lot of people. He's a high-octane sort of wide forward. A lot of you guys I know that watch the channel, that watch the content, do really like Rafinha, and he's very direct. He's sort of he's when big clubs like Barcelona and Chelsea are talking about him, the scouts obviously like what he's doing. That's another part of the Chelsea hierarchy that a lot of Chelsea fans are not so trusting with, the scouting network. So, you know, that's a different story. No, I quite like Rafinha. I haven't pulled up the stats on this. If the story develops more, I will of course do so. But, you know, you can add them to the list, essentially, couldn't you? Like, Richarlison is another player that Chelsea are apparently looking at from Everton. I have a feeling it will be... Because Everton need to sort out their financial fair play at the moment. I mean, it's great that they stayed in the Premier League, that Frank didn't get them relegated, or Frank kept them up, you could say. So that will, you know, they would have been in such financial turmoil then. But to buy, they'll need to sell. And you'd think with Richarlison, they'll have an opportunity there. He's probably their most sellable asset because he's in form. You know, Calvert-Lewin hadn't been scoring. He's in form. You think Richarlison would make a lot of money. Like, maybe if they have an opportunity, if he says, like, I'd like to go, and they get 60, 70 million pounds for him, which is a lot, yes, Everton might think, oh, we can buy 2 or 3 players with that to try and actually build up the table now. It could happen. I know a lot of you guys really like Richarlison as well. Personally, I'd probably prefer Richarlison over Rafinha, though Richarlison would command a bigger fee. My gut instinct tells me. I'm really keen to get your guys' thoughts on that for wide forwards. Of course, we've been linked with Nkunku, you know, Ousmane Dembele, Raheem Sterling. It looks like Gabriel Jesus is off to Arsenal, but Chelsea are making, you know, lots of inquiries and starting to make developments in their transfer targets, as Fabrizio Romano wanted to remind many panicking Chelsea fans. But they needed to get all this important work out the way first, and that's the announcement of the exit of Bruce Buck, or certainly as chairman, and, you know, by all accounts, so saith Matt Law, Marina Granovskaia to follow. And Romelu Lukaku, it does look like the deal that we reported on this morning, we reacted to this morning, it does look like Romelu Lukaku, the deal to Inter will happen, it will be done, and it won't be too ridiculous financially for Chelsea. So that's a positive thing, and then Chelsea can move on and developments in the transfer window. I wanted to make this second video today to reflect on this huge development and talk about these other 2 players. I love seeing you guys start up the conversation in the comment section about your preferences when it comes to players and how the club is run. So I'm sure you guys will be discussing Richarlison and Rafinha down there. Let me know. And other than that, yeah, thanks for joining me today. Of course, keep it locked. As soon as news comes up, I'll react to it here on the channel. Reference and cite sources. So keep it locked. Thanks for joining me. See you very soon. Peace.
Way so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.